You don't have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
Here to introduce the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, John Spytek, and the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Pete Carroll.
Thank you, Mark, for the introduction. I cannot express how grateful and excited I am to be here, to be given this opportunity to be a part of an iconic cornerstone franchise like this. So just a dream come true for me, with many dreams still out in the future to get accomplished. This isn't the final goal, but this was certainly one of my career goals, and just so grateful for the time, the belief in me, and Coach Carroll to do our thing and make this organization proud.
This special day is unique, and for so many reasons. I first want to say I'm so fired up to be here with John, and because I know that first time around is really something, and so we're gonna celebrate this in a fantastic way. We're gonna partner in this thing. It's so important that our relationship is dynamic and extraordinary and true, and so you'll see that come in time. So being a kid that grew up in the Bay Area, and my dad made me a Niners fan when we were going to Kezar Stadium back in the day, parking in Golden Gate Park, and then the Raiders came to town. And when you're in the Bay Area, you know, you can take sides and all, but the Raiders captured me a long time ago, and I'm just filled with gratitude to be part of this. This really begins with the Davis family, and I grew up under Mark's dad, watching this program come together. But I've seen in such short order, just in this time that we've come together to get to this point, Mark Davis put together an extraordinary group to make this happen and make this a unique opportunity in the league, and a unique opportunity for the Raider Nation and for our fans that will follow us, and it's one of a kind. And he's assembled a group to support us that I know that John and I have just been knocked out by ownership that is one of a kind. And with the Raiders and this opportunity, I feel like I've been there before. And I'm going to bank on that. And I'm going to follow my instincts and support with John and through, as we extend to ownership, in a way that we're going to be proud of. And we're going to be fired up about who we are and what we stand for. We have a great following in the Raider Nation, and they've done amazing. They've made an amazing statement globally. And I'm so proud to be part of that and recognizing that we get to represent our following. And here in Las Vegas, to do it in this setting right here, where people can't wait to come see us, they can't wait to see what we're all about, wherever our fans come from. We do want to fill our stadium up with our guys. I know that we have a good draw for people from out of town. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Mark, settle down a little bit. Away we go. Let's go. Raiders Nation, let's go, baby.
All right. There you go right there. The press conference. So that, Mark. There you go right there. The press conference, that was Pete Carroll and John Spytek as they were introduced on Monday.
What's funny about all that, though? Mark Davis introduced him and said, I have something to say at the end after you guys talk, and then they were done and all walked out, and Mark Davis never got to say what he wanted to say.
It's not about Mark Davis, okay? Mark Davis, he's the owner, but it's Tom Brady's show. So it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, and that's who they kept praising was Tom Brady. So anyways, here we are. Welcome to the Cage Match, episode 80. And we're just stacking episodes. All right, Asylum, how you been, Mr. Jim Otto himself? How you been every single episode?
Hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, just doing what I got to do. When you make a commitment, you got to stick to it. I'm under contract.
Yeah, and we got some people that need to get new contracts when it comes to the Raiders. Now that we know the direction of the team,
I need to negotiate.
You need to renegotiate.
I need to renegotiate. I got no more guaranteed money. No more guaranteed money.
Yeah, we're on the bottom tier. We're on the bottom tier, okay? So until people start buying some W's, we're on with no guaranteed money, okay?
We're high class hoes. It's okay.
All right, well, speaking of high class hoes, that means it's time for shameless stuff. And let's go into the shameless plug, our favorite segment. Here we go, Asylum. Take it away once we get to here. Go.
All right, everybody, go to the YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that bell. That way, anytime a video is short, whatever the hell we put out, you'll be able to be one of the first to see it. If Roger Goodell wants to be a little cunt bag like he can be, even during the offseason, he tries. He don't like the cage man. If he does his bullshit, you can catch us on Facebook at Oakland Raiders Savages homepage, Oakland Raiders Savage, or my homepage, Asylum. When we're done with the show, or at any other time when we're not on, why don't you go ahead and visit WGG, check out all their fine products, browse, shop, put it in order. When you're ready to check out, put Cage Match, one word, in the discount code to get 10% off your entire order.
And like we always say, when you think of wins, think of dubs. And when you think of dubs, think of Dubby. Get that energy like Max Crosby, who we will talk about later. He seems re-energized for this season. So go there, put do your whole order, go into the discount code, put one word Cage Match, CAGEMATCH, and after that, check out the Compa Fabian's website right there. Check out his merch. Go to www.r4lifer.com. That is RaiderNationForLifer.com. That's the way we all remember it. Go there, check out his merch. He has some great merch, and I'm going to keep saying it. Okay? I got this gray hat, and I love this gray hat. This is an official NFL hat, so when I do, I'm going to keep saying it. I got to go back on there and get some more stuff. I like to go there. I like to go to events when he's at, so I can, have it now, So, anyways, check that out. Check him out. And then also, shouts out to RaiderMan19, RaiderMan19.com. Go there, check out his merch. He has the Oath merch, which is a Raider Oath that you hear at the end of the intro, the regular intro. And speaking of that Oath, we want to try to somehow get him to the torch at the beginning of this coming season. Now that we have Pete Carroll, I think Pete Carroll would appreciate the Raider Oath by Raider Man himself. Get that Oakland Raider mystique with the Las Vegas right away. Now that we kind of know which way it's going, so go there. So we want to take him there to the Torch and have him do that in front of 65,000. And you heard Pete Carroll in that intro where he wants to have our own fans in there. Have Marshawn Lynch right behind him. Raiders! So there you go. That is the shameless plug right there. All right, Asylum.
You're so shameless.
That's what we do over here, And with that, like we said, Pete Carroll is official and he joins this AFC West, the tough AFC West that everyone kept talking about and saying how are we gonna compete. Well, hey, you got him with to go against these other coaches in the West, and of course, like Jim Harbaugh, who we kept going competing with in the NFC West. Actually, first it was First it was in college. Then it was in the NFC West because Jim Harbaugh was with UCLA, right? No, I'm sorry, with Stanford. He was with the other. He was with the other college. Then he went to Stanford. No, yes. I'm right, right? My time was all over the place. No, come on. How'd it go?
I don't know how. I think it was Stanford.
Yeah, that's what I said. Stanford. You're not reassuring me, Kay. Stanford.
I was trying to read somebody's comment, and you know how hard it is to read that comment.
Well, as long as it's not one of those guys, those bots, Kay.
No, it's not a bot. It's our infamous Douglas Sinclair.
Douglas Sinclair, who is, he says he's a Niner fan, but he's on our show a lot in the comment section, always trying to be a heckler. He's not. I mean, he talks mess about the Raiders, but hey,
Well, sometimes I think he is. That's what I was trying to figure out.
But he's always on our show line, and he'll like the show. So I don't know. Douglas Sinclair, he wants to come to the dark side, though
he's always here. He's coming for the good content. He's trying to get his facts together. He's trying to get his excuses for all his 49ers fans and family. When he jumps over, he has them all in an order. He knows why. He has those stats. And where did he get his stats from? Right here on the Cage Match Show.
Yeah, you ever seen that movie Undercover Brother? You remember? I think it's Chris Kattan. I think it's Chris Kattan's character. How he was like, he was for the man, but he always like, anytime like music will come on and start dancing, and then he's like he can't hold it in. I asked Douglas Sinclair like, "Oh, I'm a Niner fan." Then he hears the Raiders song. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Go Raiders! I mean Niners! Go Raiders! I mean Niners! What am I doing? So, shouts out to Douglas Sinclair in the comment section. All right, Asylum, let's go. Let's get into business. So, like we said, we broke the news on Friday, like everybody else did on Friday, when he got signed to the Raiders, and then he has a press conference. He joins the AFC West, basically to wreak havoc in Jim Harbaugh's life for the third time. First in college, then in the AFC West.
I bet you once he found out, what Jim Harbaugh said, not a fucking again.
What's your deal, man? Yeah.
Jim have nice things, huh?
First in college, then in the NFC West, and then now in the AFC West. Pete Carroll, he's just the thorn in Jim Harbaugh's foot or side or whatever, however the story goes. But you look over here. You look over here. You look over here, and you see that out of all the coaches here, the only one that does not have a Super Bowl win, only an appearance, is Jim Harbaugh. Just like the Chargers, who has a Super Bowl appearance, but no win.
No wins.
Harbaugh and the Chargers were meant for each other. We have Pete Carroll.
I was about to say that exact same thing. They're a marriage made in heaven.
So all this talk has been about who's going to be the coordinators of the Raiders now that Pete Carroll has came in to lead the way as head coach.
Now that we got our GM and coach, now we can start focusing on coordinators.
Yeah, and if you look at what he had, who he had in the past, there were rumors tied to maybe he wants to bring Gus Bradley back, which Gus Bradley was here. He was the defensive coordinator when John Gruden was still here a few years ago. So he does have familiarity with at least one guy, which is Max Crosby. Then you had Dan Quinn, of course. He is the head coach for the Commanders, who just got knocked out the playoffs last week. Jeff Ulbrich, who's with the Falcons. He's their DC. Dave Canales, the Panthers head coach right now. Tom Cable has been rumored to maybe want to come back again for his third stint with the Raiders as offensive line coach, and I'm not mad about that. I know he's been out since 2021.
Coach. He was a good offensive line coach.
And he knew how to put the combinations together. I just hope that the one thing he does do is make sure you keep JPJ at center. That's where he belongs. And then you build from there. You want to build from the quarterback out, build from the center out, and keep JPJ right there in the middle. Robert Saleh went to the Niners, so he's off the table. Darrell Bevell has been interviewed with the Raiders.
Yes, he has.
You know, with the rumor potential coordinators, Darrell Bevell has been interviewed. That was the first thing that Pete Carroll did, was interview Bevell to possibly reunite with him in Las Vegas for this coming season to be his offensive coordinator. And what was the stat that you had, Asylum?
Oh, I wish I had it in front of me. It was something like with Bevell, the offense, the year before they drafted Russell Wilson, their offense was ranked 18th. And then after they drafted him for the next 7 years, it was like second, third, second, fourth. I mean, they basically had, you know, after getting them for 7 straight years, they had a top 5 offense consistently.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and of course, we'll get into that where kind of like the dominoes will fall if that was to happen, or the possible dominoes could fall if that was to happen. And then going on the defensive side, the coordinators, you have Rob Leonard, who is their current defensive line coach. He was already interviewed. Carl Scott was requested. Haven't heard if he was allowed to interview yet. He's a Seahawks DB coach, so he's worked under Carroll. And then, of course, Patrick Graham, which yesterday they said that he was in the mix. And Asylum, can you do me a favor?
So
can you play that intro?
Where'd it go?
Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day.
All right, and there's the rumor right there. It's been breaking news to everybody else. As we learned from the Ben Johnson situation, you don't say it's going to happen until it actually happens. So we just put the rumor thing there. And this is broke by Josina Anderson, who is a senior NFL insider. Breaking, she is told that the Raiders and Patrick Graham are working on a deal to bring him back as defensive coordinator, per league source. Now, Asylum, with Patrick Graham coming back, that means that the defense, which has been carrying this team and has the continuity for the last 3 years, will be, if this is...
You said the key word. It will continue to have the same continuity with the coaches, because Leonard's name was thrown in there as a possible DC. But if Patrick Graham comes back, he's likely going to be back with Graham. So you're going to have key position coaches most likely in the same spot. So the defense is going to be one thing. You know, I'm sure Pete Carroll's going to put a tweak here or there, you know, because Pete Carroll, I believe, likes to run a 4-3. So, you know, I'm sure, you know, there's going to be little tweaks into that, not that 5-2 that, you know, we were running last year. But other than that, you're going to have the same verbiage. Everything's going to be the same. We kept preaching. We wanted to keep AP, you know, earlier and everything because we want continuity. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here by bringing Patrick Graham back, assuming he puts pen to paper, you know, and signs. I like the continuity, at least on one side of the ball here.
Yeah, and you know, it was said in Pete Carroll's presser, his introductory presser, that he wants to bring in guys as coaches. He wants to bring in guys that he's worked with, but then also work with guys that are new, that are in the building already to keep some continuity. And I don't know if it was hinted.
He used that exact word. He wanted to keep some continuity.
Yeah.
Funny how
And I
that
don't
word's been thrown around a lot on this show, and finally we're getting a head coach.
And I think that's a good move. That's a good move because even if Patrick Graham decides to go, because the story is that he went back to do a second or third interview with the Jaguars, but the Jaguars were already going to sign, and I put the wrong name in one of our shorts, but Liam Cohen, not Brian Cohen. My bad, everybody. You know, we all make mistakes. You know, whatever.
No, you're not allowed to make a mistake. We want perfection.
Yeah, well,
you need to be perfect when you're here.
Well, okay. What's worse, me calling him Brian Cohen or him saying Duval? So
might not be there.
Duval. He had a creepy face when he said that too. But Patrick Graham was going to for another interview, probably because the Jaguars, you know, Cohen went back to the Buccaneers because they still had the Jaguars still had their GM in place and Balky. So when Cohen went back to sign, he was going to sign an extension to be the offensive coordinator still with the Buccaneers. Jaguars went to go fire Balky. They still interviewed Patrick Graham, even though Rooney Rule, yeah, basically. And when Cohen said, "Okay, I'll come back then and do another to sign the dotted line," Patrick Graham was without a job, and all the other and he even interviewed to be the defensive coordinator job, which was kind of weird. Like, why would you go back? Just, you know, whatever. The Saints job is still open, but they're waiting for the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, right?
Well, him or Spagnuolo, I believe.
Yeah, so basically coaches that are still playing that Saints can't talk to until their seasons are over, which would be
they could do virtual interviews, I believe. Maybe maybe they could do in person this week. Then they have to wait till after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So Patrick Graham was without a job, and you know, we had said when we were trying to figure out, well, who's going to be the head coach for the Raiders, and I threw it out there. I said, let's bring Patrick Graham to be head coach just to keep the continuity on defense, because we all thought if they go a different direction and fire AP, that Patrick Graham was going to be out because the new guys were going to come in and clean house, and hey, that probably would have happened if Ben Johnson would have been the Raiders head coach. So kind of like how I'm gonna compare it to last year's draft. Kind of like how everybody was saying we were gonna get Penix, and then Penix got taken off the board, and we ended up with Brock Bowers. I feel that this is kind of like the same situation where we were supposed to get Penix, we were supposed to get Ben Johnson, and then the Bears swooped them up real quick, and you know, we ended up with Pete Carroll. But hey, maybe the decision that we initially were trying to make that we couldn't make will save us again. And Pete Carroll, knowing that, you know what, the defense wasn't the problem last year or this past season, especially with all the injuries, there
was one problem, that was the injuries.
Yeah. And then when you got guys coming back like Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, he had the surgery, so he had said on his podcast yesterday that he's now finally off the scooter, so he ain't doing the scooter. He still got the boot, but he ain't doing the scooter no more. And but, you know, Jacorian Bennett coming back. Maybe now we know there's a higher chance that the Raiders keep a Kuntz or a Spillane, yeah, you know. So yeah, because now at least the defense is.
Especially if you can see a little bit of Richard Sherman and Morey.
Yeah.
He might want to keep him, right? You know, maybe there's a little bit of that. But going back to the Patrick Graham, remember I did say, I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I know I said it on the show. How about that? That there's a chance. Remember, Patrick Graham did not take an extension because he wanted to see who the head coach was going to be. Was it somebody I could work with? And seeing that it's Pete Carroll, and, you know, granted, everything like you said happened to him, you know, happening. Obviously, he would take a head coaching job if it was there. But, you know, there's probably other DC jobs that he might have interviewed for, could have, whatever. But being Pete Carroll, another defensive mind, somebody he could really, work with, could be reason why we're all of a sudden now, what is it, 2 days after the press conference?
Yeah.
Hearing that they're talking contracts and everything. So, maybe he liked the signing and came back and said, hey, I'm ready to sign a contract. Give me the extension. Give me the same version of the extension and I'll be back.
Yeah, and one of the things, so after going back to after 2021 when we made the playoffs and lost to the Bengals on that phantom whistle, it was either keep Bisaccia or go another route, and the Raiders went another route. Now I thought at that time the offense wasn't the problem; the defense has been the problem for the last couple of years. With Gunther, and then Gus Bradley kind of raised it a little bit, but it was still inconsistent. So I thought, okay, well, if we're going to get a new coach, get someone that runs a similar system like Gruden, a West Coast type of offense, and then, keep that going, and then have someone to run the defense. And Mark Davis went with McDaniels, and they went to a whole totally different direction where the offense has been
it was, but you got to remember McDaniels did have a West Coast style of offense, so he kind of did what you said. He just picked the wrong coach to do the job.
I don't even know what McDaniels' type of philosophy was because it didn't make any sense. When Derek Carr was running it, it was more of a West Coast. When he tried to bring in Garoppolo, I don't know what it was. So. But it just seemed like
he's going back to his safety blanket.
Well, yeah, back to New England. But what Carroll did in this one now, Carroll being a defensive side of the ball type of coach, you would think, okay, he'll bring his own guy because he's defense. But no, he said, okay, I'm coming in. I'm not trying to rebuild everything from the ground up. I'm going to keep what works, which is the defense. So if Patrick Graham does finalize, if there is a deal that he's finalizing and that becomes official, the defense is not the one that needs to be fixed. They just continue on. Now, they'll need to get tweaked here and there and add, maybe better players. Maybe like more skilled linebackers because, you've seen on the free agency right here, the Raiders free agency, you got guys like Divine Diablo that might be out the door. Robert Spillane, you got to give him you got to extend him out. You got to give him.
And now that we got a Pete Carroll who saw what Spillane did, I have better. I'd be if I was. Well, I am a bet man, so I'd say if I was to place a bet, I would say Pete Spillane is the type of player that Pete Carroll wants to make sure. Remember, he did say he put it out there for Max, but I'm sure he put it out there for Spillane and a few other people too. They are going to go aggressively to try to make sure to keep these players.
Yeah, because and we all saw it that the defense, and there were times where the defense. People are like, well, the defense didn't play all that great. They this and that, but the defense was put into a lot of situations, short field situations because of a turnover, because we have Minshew at quarterback, so the defense was put in bad positions. And they did
a lot of time on the field at times. Would do like you said with Minshew, would do their job, and then have the offense just throw it away 3 fucking plays later.
Yeah.
So a lot of those defensive numbers are skewed a little bit because of the different situations and of the offense. And, they get, they do their job. They were a reason we were in a lot of those games that we could have won.
Yeah. Yeah. They kept it close. Yes. The defense kept it close. So I like how Pete Carroll is thinking, let me just let me keep the continuity on the defense. So that right there will make guys like Max Crosby happy because I know this system. We don't have to go through a whole new system again. And then maybe we have a better idea, like we said, of who's going to be brought back, of guys who were in the system for the last 3 years, and the guys who showed improvement, like a Trevor Morig, like a Isaiah Palamau. He'll be going into his third year, I believe, this coming season. So those guys stepped up.
Keeping Marcus Epps too.
Maybe, yeah. Just to kind of have that veteran presence back there. Him going out. If you see the injuries, Coons, who was supposed to be a contract year this past year, he didn't even get a chance to play it down in the regular season. Marcus Epps went out against the Panthers game, I believe. He was out in that Panthers game. So all these guys, they're coming back. But even with all these injuries, mostly on the defensive side, the defense was middle of the pack, 15-14 overall. So you get these guys back like Christian Wilkins, who we had signed to that big contract last year, and a Max Crosby, who got his surgery and missed the last couple of games of the season. He comes back fresh. If we do bring back a Marcus Epps. Marcus Epps back, that veteran back there to play safety, be that, which I like to call that Charles Woodson role, like Charles Woodson had in the second stint, be that veteran quarterback of the DBs, of the defensive backfield back there to get people in position. We're not going to see a drop-off on defense. We should see this defense continue to build and be on top, because those Pete Carroll teams, they had that Legion of Boom, and I wish I would have came up with it. I heard somebody online call it it could be the Allegiant of Boom. I said, how come I didn't catch that? How come I couldn't come up with that? So I can't give credit because I don't know.
We'll come up with something better. We don't want to be tied into that. It was good, but we don't want to, we got to get rid of the boom and we got to bring in something else.
Yeah. So,
Seahawks, oh my God. Well, it's still there. It happens.
Yeah. And, speaking of, in that press conference, you seen that Max Crosby was out there in the back, especially, he was out there, with Marshawn Lynch, who he had told Max Crosby that, because Max Crosby asked, hey, how was it like playing under Pete Carroll? And Marshawn Lynch was telling him, oh, man, he builds the culture. The coach, he's detailed. So basically, he was building up Pete Carroll for Max Crosby. And you see Max Crosby was in the back of the conference, the press conference room, watching everything. So it was a good sign that you saw that he was there to see the coach get brought up. So let's play a little clip of that right there. Asylum, can you get that clip ready right there? The Pete Carroll, the Max clip.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Okay. I'm ready.
Let's play that right there.
Saw Max back there. Max, send the message, man. We're coming after you. We're going to come find you guys and get this thing rolling as soon as possible with the highest of expectations, with a mentality that will drive high performance in a way that hopefully everybody's going to hear us and they're going to know us. And so I'm really proud to take on that challenge. So thrilled to be here. Thanks again to Mark and Tom.
Obviously there's a lot of stuff going on this offseason, but is that a thing that you wanted to make sure that you were there and involved in?
I was excited to go and hear them talk and speak, and I'm excited to have more conversation moving forward, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, it's just it was good to finally be in the same room as them and get to chop it up. So yeah, I feel like people just, there's always going to be the clickbait shit, especially this time of year. I don't know why. It's just funny. The last 2 years, the trade rumors and all that shit has been out of hand. And now it's just at an all time high. Cause I feel like everything I say, it's just they take it in a certain way. And it might be even the other fan bases that make our fans get mad. And then they're then all of a sudden they'd start turning on me. And I'm bro, I'm just minding my own business. I'm just in the building every day at 6 a.m. and working my ass off, minding my own business. Like, oh, he's a diva now. He's talking. He's da-da-da-da. I'm like, the fans that switch up, they weren't fans in the first place, and they weren't really there for you anyway. So, like, they're just revealing themselves. You know what I mean? I've done nothing but give my heart and soul every single day to this organization. And as of right now, that's what it's going to continue being. You know what I mean? I'm never going to change who I am. And like I said, we talked about it. Like, obviously the contract situation, all that stuff, that will be addressed, and we'll move accordingly, you know, one step at a time. But you know what I mean? It's like, bro, I've been a Raider through and through, you know, since the day I got here. And it's funny how people change when, especially like during the, you know, just coming off of what we went through, you know, people have their question marks. What's the team going to do moving forward? Blah, blah, blah. Should we move him? Should we do this? And it's like, people just buy into it. Like, once there's like a little smoke, and all of a sudden it's like people turn it to a wildfire, and it really just appeared out of thin air. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just working my ass off every day, minding my business. I'm doing incredible. I'm happy. Got the best people in the world around me, including y'all. Like, life is great. So yeah, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt. You know, people change all the time, and people are going to love you. Sometimes they're going to love what love what you're doing. Sometimes they're going to hate what you're doing. But at the end of the day, like, I got that shit from Floyd Mayweather, that video. I watch it almost every single day, but he's like, no matter how good you're doing, they're going to have something to say. No matter how bad you're doing, they're going to have something to say. So do what you want to do. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And I live by that. So shout out to Floyd. Shout out to Floyd.
So right there, Asylum, does that reassure that Max Crosby does not want to leave the Raiders, that he wants to see this thing through?
I mean, I could take that question two different ways. I mean, didn't Devontae Adams say the same shit before asking for a trade? You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, players don't say that, but coming from Max Crosby, the only thing he said out, you know, that people are taking out of context was that I have no more guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So people want to take that as he's pissed off, this, that. He did say shit, you know, earlier on, you know, after they fired AP, you know, all this turnaround, all this, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. But I think he ended up taking some things that Pete Carroll said. I mean, you heard, you know, straight to him, Max, we're coming for you. You know, send that message. Excuse me. You know, send that message. We need to get talking. We're coming for you. Which to me sounds like there might be another extension coming. Hold on. Excuse me. Another extension or something coming, right? You know, to put guaranteed money. Give him another 2-3 years. You know, give him guaranteed money through this time. There's a lot of ways that this can get worked out. But also, I think you saw it, you know, when he's sitting in the back, he's shaking his head when Pete Carroll's talking. He's liking what he's hearing, what Pete Carroll's saying. You know, he did that little, you know, I'm ready to fight, you know, getting ready, you know, all those fighters do, right? You know, the stretch going, you know, he looked like he was ready to get down and start going. So, I mean, it's not a Devontae Adams kind of situation where I'm just saying what needs to be said to protect myself. I don't think Crosby's that way. You know.
Yeah, and then,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, last time there was any doubt when it came to the whole AP thing, all he said is there's a lot of options on the table and I will check out every option.
Yeah, and that right there is where people, they like to go back to that offseason when they were trying to figure out who's going to be the head coach after AP was interim, and everyone even the national media keeps saying, well, yeah, remember when he was trying to request for a trade if they don't hire AP? And he never requested a trade. It was if they don't hire AP because of what happened with the Versace situation going, you know, to McDaniels, if they don't hire AP, then we're gonna have to look at some options. And I had used the when I was explaining it to my girlfriend how that went and how people take what they hear and then they run with it. You know, and they kind of like they changed it. They changed the narrative and everything of what was said to what fit, you know, what goes with the narrative of trying to freak out everybody. So he asked for a trade. It's like when you're a parent and you're at the store. Yeah, clickbait. And it's like when you're at the store and your child is acting up and you say, you know what, keep acting up, see what happens when we get home. Now the kid in his mind thinking, oh, my mom or dad just said they're gonna you know beat my you know what when I get home. But that's not what I said. I said
I'm about to get my ass kicked.
yeah. And it's like, no, the words were, you keep acting up and we'll see what happens when we get home. I never said I was gonna knock the taste out your mouth. But see,
next week.
that's what people want to go and run with it, and that's not what was said. He just said, no, so he just said, I just want to check some options if we don't hire AP.
They're just trying to twist his words to fit a narrative, to sell a story, to get the clicks, to get everybody to get the traffic to their, and it's not just like YouTubers and shit like that. You're talking about media people, you're talking to, I'm not that SI's done it, but SI, the whatever local news papers that are online that you got, the Mitchell Renses, all this shit. You have people who focus strictly on those kind of stories, and then will turn around and present it to you as clickbait, and then I don't do clickbait. That's not what I said. You twisted it around. He said, like that first time, I will have to view all my options. That option could have been what he was talking about. I will play out my contract and then leave.
Yeah.
Never said I was going to ask for a trade. He was just going to, I need to play out all my options. I have multiple options. I can ask for a trade. Is that going to be best for me? Or I play out my contract? Should I do this? Should I just see how it goes? Just like he did here. He said he's going to shut up, not talk about coaching. He was going to see what happens. I have no guaranteed money. And I'm getting tired. I'm sorry. He agreed with Myles Garrett about coaching changes, the inconsistency with shit. And he turned out, I'm getting tired of it. I've had so many, different head coaches in the, fucking 7 years, 8 years, whatever it's been that he's been here.
Since 2019, last year in Oakland.
Okay, so yeah, all he's just telling the truth. He's just being transparent. Hey, I'm getting tired of this fucking head coaching carousel. Same thing that fans are saying. So if fans are saying they're tired of the same shit, players are going to say they're tired of the same shit. Does not mean they want to leave. Since day one, he said he's always a Raider, and if he has it his way, he will play for only the Raiders.
Yeah.
But again, it'll be the Raiders and Mark Davis who fuck it up if he ends up wanting to go. If they fired, Pete Carroll after 2 years, he might turn around and say, I know I got this extension, but you can keep the money. I need to go somewhere else because you cannot stay consistent. I need to go. And a lot of people would say, I don't blame him. They don't blame Josh Jacobs for doing what he did. But it's a problem. Max Crosby does what he, going in. Max Crosby never said, I want to go anywhere.
Yeah. He's actually said, I want to stay here.
Yeah. So, stop twisting the words around just to get, just so you could hope you could turn around and say, well, I told you first. I said it first. You heard it on my show first.
Yeah.
And I think speculation, say there's speculation on this and go. Don't twist the words and say, well, this is what he said. This is what, my sources are telling me this. I can claim sources up and down and tell you, what, Max Crosby's going to fucking sign a 12-year contract and beat Patrick Mahomes and fucking be the highest paid player. I can say that shit too. And then if it happens, hey, look, I was right. I said it first. You heard it here. No, we're going to, we speculate on some of this shit because we go. But I'm not going to twist his words. I will take what he says and try to interpret it and put that out there and saying, this is how I'm interpreting this. I hope it's not true, or this is how, going. But you can't turn around and say, this is what he's saying, this is what he's doing, twisting it around. I mean, you've seen so many interviews that get cut off at a certain spot just so it can fucking fit whoever's narrative to say what they want to say. And then, most people who didn't see the interview are going to take that for what it is and not be like, well, you know what, there was actually 3 more sentences after he said that that turn around and nullifies what you're trying to say here.
Yeah, that's that taking things out of context.
Yes.
I like to use movie. I like to use movie references. You ever seen the movie Mr. Deeds
Yes.
with Adam Sandler? Remember when he went to go save the cats from the fire, and not Drew Barrymore. Why am I forgetting her name? She played Lydia from Beetlejuice.
Winona Ryder.
Her, the one that shoplift. Winona Ryder said, she had the camera, her character had the camera. She was recording everything. Then that next day in the news on that tabloid, this just in, Mr. Deeds was throwing cats out of a building and then had his way with the victim of the building that was on fire. And then they had him, because he jumped out with her. And then she was like, and that's if you cut it, you chop it, you cut it, you chop it. Okay, there you go. Boom. There you go. See, that's what he said. He said he wanted to get traded. See, he wanted to leave. He didn't want to be here no more. See, he said it with his own words. So, and that's what he.
It's going to get worse. Now that you got this AI bullshit where you can put a picture of him talking or him just whatever and put your own words to it, people are going to start saying, have it go with his own damn voice saying, I just want to be traded. You're starting to see it now during those press conferences. And this is what he truly was going to say. You know what I'm talking about. You see it on Facebook all over the place.
Yeah.
You got Patrick Mahomes, or even the announcers. Oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes and I mean that people
the almighty Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, people want to start believing that shit because they don't know any better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what everyone thought when they saw that clip that's been going around the internet with Leon Cohen. All the people in the comments, was that AI? Because his face, his eyebrows did some weird, he did some cartoon. I don't know what he did.
He did the worm with his eyebrows.
Yeah, it was creepy. And they're like, Duval. They're like, was that AI? So I was going to look at it myself and I'm all like, oh no, that's what he said. And his face did that. It wasn't doctored. But yeah, and that's what Max Crosby was saying about all this clickbait and everything. And even Hondo, he had said, I think it was like a month or so ago, that it was asked, I guess in the offseason, there's these surveys that, gets put out for players who are free agents or whatever, what would you play for this franchise or whatever? I guess the scouts are trying to, recruit players in, and they said, one of the reasons why the Raiders are not an attractive place to play for is because of some of these fans who put out these ridiculous negative postings about the players, twisting words around and just and that's and I'm over here saying that with us having a podcast, but I just feel like that's one of the downside to where everybody has a voice, because those ones that have the most influence can say what they want and people will believe, and the athlete or coach or whoever that they are talking down about, I don't want to deal with this no more. I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do, and I got these fans, and it's really just like the 1%, 2%, 3%, who have that following, to turn around and be like, oh yeah, well, he said this and that, and he didn't want to be a Raider no more. Which, how Max Crosby said, sparks, where there's smoke.
You literally just said it, in the thing. You got those fans who weren't really fans all along, as he put it. Those were his words. We can play it if we have to.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, saying stuff like that and going, and putting these narratives out there, and then people are running with it.
Yeah.
Like it's facts, like it's 100%. Again, cite sources. Anybody can claim they got a source. I claim I got 6 sources inside the NFL or inside the Raiders and shit. But are you going to believe me if I say that? Just because I have a podcast and say it? Because some of the shit I've said has turned out to be right?
Yeah.
Right? So, does that make my sources legitimate? Or, you don't have to, necessarily give names, but, a higher up in there, I've taught, whatever, has said this. Hondo has sources. Hondo's one of our sources we like to use a lot. But, the whole thing, when it comes down to it, I believe Hondo before I believe a Mitchell Rentz or other podcasters because I know Hondo's inside that building.
Yeah.
The things he's seeing, the things he's hearing on his sources, he's actually confirming the shit before he goes out and puts it out there. Not just because somebody told him something and say, hey, somebody said this that works inside the building. As far as you know, that person's disgruntled because they're about to lose their job.
Yeah.
You don't know. Or their boss pissed them off for that day. And we all fucking gone home and talked shit about our bosses. And shit like that. So how do you know that it wasn't that? And they just turned around and said, oh, you're going to do a podcast here. This is what I heard.
Yeah.
Just because they're pissed off. And then the next day, everything's all great. If you're going to be a journalist, you have to fucking double check your sources before you put the information out there.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to disagree with this because you do have journalists who can be biased, whether it's negative for the Raiders or positive for the Raiders. So I'm gonna agree that there are some journalists and reporters that because they know, like we said, they have a following, and they can go and put Red Rock, and they can go and put whatever out there in the story, and you'd be like, oh, look at that. That's just like you said, Mitchell Rentz, when he had when the whole Cohen thing was going on, and Jaguars fired Balky. Now it was reported that the Raiders are finalizing a deal for to have John Spytek be our next GM. So it was like, okay, we got our GM. Okay, cool. Da 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 da. And then when that whole drama that was going on with the Jaguars and Jaguars fire Trent Baalke, Cohen is now back to finalize a deal, and Cohen and Spytek coming from the Buccaneers, it got tied together that Spytek didn't sign the dotted line. He can go back to the East Coast and join forces with Cohen because they have familiarity with the Buccaneers. What are we doing, Raiders? What are we doing? And now everyone's on, Twitter and everything. Oh, I'm sorry, X, whatever. X. And they're saying, "Oh, whoa!"
Twitter.
Just like what happened with Kingsbury was reported, and then he ran away, and then it was reported that we're going to get Ben Johnson. Then the Bears swooped them up. We're going to lose, and it just turned into this paranoia that it's like, wait till things are confirmed. But people, like you said, people want to be the first. I said it first. So you want to come to me and rely on my sources? That's why on here we just say, hey, it was said, it wasn't confirmed yet. Like with the Patrick Graham, it's rumored that he is finalizing a deal to stay with the Raiders. It gives hope, but we can't confirm it because it just happened. The news just broke out a half hour ago, 45 minutes ago. So we're just going to be like, hey, rumored.
But how did we put it out there, though? We didn't say it's happening. We said the rumor is Patrick Graham is finalizing a deal to come back to the Raiders.
Yes.
So it's how you say the shit too, how you put it out there. The rumor is we didn't say this is what's happening, this is what's going on, and then if he doesn't do it, well, we were wrong, and then we have our chat calling us out on shit, because we said this. Which if we did, we would turn around and say we were wrong. Unlike certain other people we know, certain other shows, I should say, and everything like that. I was just checking to see if it got finalized yet, but no, it hasn't. So yeah, I mean, again, and there are, journalists out there who don't like the Raiders, so they're going to put out nothing but negativity.
Yeah.
So, let them put out the negativity. Just don't read into it. Everyone, the Raiders have a love-hate relationship. You either love the Raiders or you hate the Raiders. There is no in-between. There is no in-between.
Yeah, and even us as Raider fans, we love the Raiders, but God, we hate the Raiders. But we come back for more punishment. That's what we do. But with Pete Carroll coming in, that with his experience, and everyone wants to talk about his age and everything, and what that's going to be the biggest story going through this upcoming off season, going into the season is Pete
See
Carroll
all
is the oldest.
damn sports I've been sent because of his damn age.
Pete Carroll is, he's going to be the oldest head coach by the time the season starts. And I was trying to find if the NFL does have that yet. They don't have an exact date of when the NFL season would start. The regular season, of course, we still got one more game left in this season. But I thought maybe the NFL would be ahead of the game and be, oh yeah, the start of the season is September, whatever. Not yet. So this is as of when he got hired on Friday. Pete Carroll, 73 years old and 131 days. Now, I know Romeo Crennel, he would be the oldest as of right now, but that is when he last coached his last NFL game. When Pete Carroll coaches his first game with the Raiders, he will become the oldest head coach. There you. Hey, at least I understood.
Put up here. We can understand.
I understand now what he's trying to say. You know, Douglas, I know you hate the Raiders, but I know you love this show, which is a Raider-based show. So just come to the dark side, man.
Just get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, and cross that line.
Because, hey, even his coach, Kyle Shanahan, wears silver and black hats. Poser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's 73 years old. Pete Carroll is how I feel, but Pete Carroll looks how my age is. There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
He's probably close to my age, but still, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm going to be 40 in June, so I feel like Pete Carroll's age, but Pete Carroll looks like what my age now, 39, 40.
Pete Carroll's running around a lot more than I can right now.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm same here. I'm rehabbing.
I try to run around and throw around like that. I'm gonna break a hip and fucking dislocate a shoulder.
Yeah. I'm gonna need life alert. I fall and I can't get up. Pete Carroll comes. I'll help you out, son. Wait a minute. So, looking at here, I mean, Pete Carroll will be the oldest coach to coach an NFL game when the season starts. And then I believe the second week of that season, that's when he turns 74. But with his experience, he's turned around 2 programs with USC and in the NCAA, and then coming back to the NFL to try for his third stint as an NFL coach. And turning around the Seahawks and getting them their first championship, going back-to-back Super Bowls.
He turned around college teams?
That's what I said. I said he turned around USC, and then he came up for his third stint with the NFL as a head coach, because first he was with the Jets, then he went to the Patriots, then he got fired.
College teams.
Oh, I thought you said he did 2 college teams. I know, that's what I said.
No, I thought he turned around 2 college teams and 1 NFL team.
Well, USC for sure, but I believe that's his only head coaching gig was USC.
Okay, that could be. You could be right on that.
Yeah. So, Harbaugh has been 2. Actually, Harbaugh had 3 college stints. I want to say it was a college in Los Angeles. Then he went to Stanford, and then after the Niners, he went to go to Michigan. But Pete Carroll's only been head coach for 1 college team, and that is USC. Then he came back and turned around the Seahawks, was there for 14 years. So with that right there, and the Raiders, now the question turns to, okay, well, what players are you going to bring in or keep? And one of the main questions, of course, was about the quarterback. And if you look at the quarterbacks, we got stats now. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the receivers. I knew that, okay. Now we got the quarterbacks, the guys who throw to the receivers. We got stats now, getting ready for these upcoming shows, talking about free agents. You got stats now, and you've seen, of course, Sam Darnold, coming off of the finishing his Minnesota stint, kind of on the rough side, but Minnesota, I would assume they would sign him, bring him back. And I know they got J.J. McCarthy, but I would assume they bring him back. But looking at all these, and even Garoppolo, this is not my list.
You think he'd bring in Garoppolo again?
No.
But he might be able to make him a Pro Bowl quarterback.
No. Okay, no. But Russell Wilson, even Anna, but Russell Wilson, if
has a big tie right now because of Pete Carroll to the team.
Yeah, and they said that they have mended their whatever happened at the end of at the end of Pete Carroll's stint as head coach, and then Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, that they mended their fences or whatever. And if Pete Carroll does hire Bevel to be the OC, they're saying that they could tie, because Russell Wilson will be a free agent, that it's tied together. This is what's gonna happen. And if you look at Russell Wilson's career, 46,135 yards passing, 350 touchdowns, 111 interceptions, 99.8 rating, in 13 seasons with 3 teams: Seattle, Denver, and in Pittsburgh. So 10 with Seattle, 2 with Denver, and then the 1 with Pittsburgh. He's 36 now. He will be 37 in the middle of the season coming up. He has won a Super Bowl. Was XL 50 plus 5, no, 40 plus 40 plus 5, 45, 48. Is that 48? After, when they start adding the L and the V, I don't know anymore. Okay. Rocky, the movie Rocky only went up to 5, okay? So for me to add up the numerals, they didn't go Rocky XLV, okay? They didn't do that. That's called, the movie is now called, it's not called Apollo, okay? Or Creed. So they didn't change this no more. So anyways, of course he's gone to 2 Super Bowls with Pete Carroll, won the 1, 9-time Pro Bowler. Last year with Pittsburgh, 2,482 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completion percentage 63.7, and a QBR rating of 51.3 for the season. So, Asylum, looking at these numbers, and I know we said it last year when it was like, oh, we can get him. And the Broncos were basically paying his contract, because when the Steelers got him, they were only really paying him the minimum, because the Broncos were basically paying the rest of that big contract he signed with the Broncos. But can you see, well, I guess not the question of can you see him coming to the Raiders, because that's a big possibility, but how would you feel if you got your phone goes off and it says, during the free agency market, whatever, Raiders have signed 9-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson to probably like a 2-year contract? How would you feel? What would be your first initial reaction to that news?
Oh, I'd be disappointed. I would. I mean, on this show where Team Ramrod, that is hands down the number one going. Out of all those quarterbacks that you had on there, I think the only one that could really be a possibility would be Justin Fields. He's more athletic, but a younger version of Russell Wilson. So assuming that what you said, and they hired Bevel, right?
Yeah.
And wanted to, try to recreate that magic that they had with Seattle. The only one I can see going would be just Russell Wilson's getting too old. It's shown the last few years going, you're looking stopgap, whatever. But, again, Anna said it, his wife gets involved with shit, then, it affects him, everything going. He's I don't want Fields either, but that's the only one I can see on this list that can fit, or that would possibly be a fit for those two if they're trying to recreate the Russell Wilson experiment there. You know,
Yeah.
assuming that they're not going to try to move up in the draft, all this other, you know, shit. If it was going to be the free agency, that's the only, you know, he's young enough. He's a more athletic Russell Wilson. You know, yes, he's on the smaller side, probably weight-wise, you know, shit like that. But but again, I've always said it. I'll continue to say it. They could draft whoever the hell they want in the second, third, whatever's going to go. I want to give Aiden O'Connell his chance to prove it, and I'm hoping Pete Carroll could see it, because the one thing we have constantly said when O'Connell was playing, all he needed, and when the offensive line was working, he was playing well. Now give him a running back behind that, and O'Connell's going to end up being dangerous.
I put this comment up because I think it's funny that the quarterback's going to look more older than the head coach, and the head coach is going to be the oldest head coach in the NFL when he coaches his first game. Asper cream. Yeah, and you know, and it's funny, and I joked around with this going into this offseason that, you know, going through what we went through.
Want Sanders. If we're going to move up or do anything to get one of these quarterbacks, I'd rather have Cam Ward.
I was funny because I was saying is that we, you know, me and you doing these shows in the offseason, we have experience because of last year. And it seems like we're going do the same. It's like we got to reset because now we're tied with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields again going into this coming season. And we got a head coach that is a culture guy. I feel like Pete Carroll is like what AP was trying to be. You know, he can already get the guys together, that rah guy, but Pete Carroll also comes in with that experience, having been to 2 Super Bowls, having a ring, having won 1 Super Bowl, you know, national title with USC. So we basically got a AP type of motivator, but with a lot of experience. And you know, they kind of said the same thing in the press conference of, you know, I want you guys to love football and be here and want to, you know, be football players. It's going to be about competition. If you don't want to compete, that's fine. You ain't going to be here then. It's not a place for you. And I heard a lot of the same things. Now, I'm not trying to tie them together that it's going to be the same results, but I feel like 2024, it's like it never happened. Okay, we're resetting. It never happened, so we're going to start again, you know, from the beginning, where we're going to have an experienced head coach coming in, and then you know, Max Crosby, is he happy or not with the head coaching? You know, it seems like Max Crosby is happy. There was a video out there of him talking to Pete Carroll after the press conference, and it looked like they were,
I agree with,
you know,
with Jeff doing the boosters right here. This statement. Sorry, go ahead. Talking.
He could be the guy, and I hope PC sees something in him to give him the shot and not waste money on a free agent. Or be dumb and trade up for a QB. Wait, PC, Carroll. We're like PCPG.
Yeah. You might have 2 PCs on.
A PC and a PG. I was like, wait.
Going to be fucking confusing using initials. That's why I started. I don't like AOC for a certain reason, so that's why I always call him O'Connell.
Yeah, yes. That's why we don't like to do politics on the show. It's just too much. Shows in a turn, whatever. But yeah, AOC. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like maybe coming into this, there'll be, like it was said last year, there's going to be a fair competition when they sign Minshew, and it'll be a fair competition between O'Connell and Minshew. So maybe going into this, whoever they draft, sign off the free agency or whatever, it'll be a fair competition to see who will start week 1. And I know it was said that Brady, if they do draft somebody if they do draft somebody this draft, if they do draft the quarterback in this upcoming draft, that they do not want to start the rookie. They'd rather him sitting back there and learning and just holding the clipboard for now and just have that bridge, whether it's going to be.
That is something that actually Brady has said he thinks NFL teams are fucking up with, is not sitting players, especially quarterback, for that season or two, throwing them in there too early and actually hurting a quarterback's development with doing this, that it is better off. So if Brady has that much influence in everything, you could see that probably, like you said, happening.
Yeah. And, that's going into the draft. So we'll see what happens, whoever they get and then how it works. But
yeah, you gotta remember because free agency is going to come first. So if we don't get everybody's favorite in free agency, then it's going to be, draft. And in all honesty, we probably will, not in the first round, but we probably will draft some kind of a quarterback, unless, of course, Pete Carroll likes Carter Bradley and thinks O'Connell and Bradley could be that combo, somewhere. We don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I do expect us, second, third, fourth, round, maybe drafting somebody as a possible development kind of player because, granted, now we got 2 wild cards. We don't have Telesco, who never fucking moves up in a draft. We could possibly do that, but are you going to, do you see Pete Carroll or Spytek, their first year, mortgaging, the future to get a possibility on something when Pete Carroll's done this before?
Yeah.
He drafted his quarterback in Russell. He played with what he got. He did what he did until he got Russell and then did what he had to go. So that's how I see it going, but I don't necessarily see, him mortgaging anything to move up, maybe even trading down, collecting more draft picks, and maybe picking up somebody who, depending on where he trades down to, because there is I can't remember the damn name, but there's one guy who's moving up the board that they're calling a late round or a late first round, early second round pick.
Dart,
that's it.
Jackson Dart.
I believe that's him, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of going. So can I see him doing something like that? Maybe.
Yeah.
But again, we won't know until we start seeing what happens in free agency.
Yeah.
And what roles start getting filled in free agency. So everyone can speculate, everyone can go. And again, out of that list, if I had to choose, gun to my head, we're choosing a free agent, quarterback. I feel based off of what we've seen out of, and again, assuming, the OC is who we're talking about, I would probably see
Andy Dalton.
Huh?
Andy Dalton.
No, I thought it was going to be Garoppolo again. But no, I mean, Sam Darnold, he's going to want too much. You're not going to pay somebody that kind of money for a stopgap. If you do that for Sam Darnold, you expect him to revitalize his career like Baker Mayfield, shit like that. And I don't know if that's going to be there. I just think, he got lucky. He didn't have the pressure with J.J. McCarthy right behind him. So he was just able to have fun and go. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. It's a wait and see. We'll just have to see. Russell Wilson, I just think there might be a little bit too. They may have mended fences, but, there's times that you mend a fence with somebody, but it doesn't mean you want to spend every day with them still.
Practice.
So I just think Russell Wilson is, 36 years old, getting to the end of his career, unless you're looking for a true 1-year stopgap in some, as MC put, he may know the system already, know the playbook, but I don't know. I would see them going with somebody a little bit younger, a little bit more athletic, per se, and go from there. It could be a Justin Fields, if it's free agency, battling it out with O'Connell again for another year to see who gets the starting job while they still drafted some, we don't know the situation quite as of yet until holes start getting filled in free agency. Then you're going to learn, have a better idea of who could be taken where in the draft based off of this is a dire need because we weren't able to fill it. We have to go here. And again, they kept asking Carroll about the QB situation, and he refused to answer. He hasn't seen anything yet that he wants to going to even say, no, our quarterback's on the team. I have complete faith in, whoever, and this is the way I'm going to go, until he proves me different.
Yeah. And then, with Pete Carroll coming in and, the Seattle ties, like how they're tying in Russell Wilson to Pete Carroll with their success that they had, going to the 2 Super Bowls together. We have some, these are our 2 threats when, for the quarterback to throw to. You have Brock Bowers here, who in his rookie year this past season, he got a couple records, receiving records. And you have a Jacoby Myers who we all know was underutilized in his 2 years here with the Raiders. So now with whoever it is, Pete Carroll's going to get someone that knows how to call an offense, that knows how to put together an offense to get these guys, have more options for a Brock Bowers, and then to get Jacoby Myers, more opportunity to make plays down the field. People still say that Jacoby Myers is if not only a number 2 receiver, he's more of a 1B. So everyone's all like, well, we need to get someone who is a 1A, and they're also tying in. Well, here are the receivers, and you see these guys. T. Higgins is probably the only one in there that's worth kicking the tires for. All the other ones, maybe even a Chris Godwin, but we've had Amari Cooper. We drafted Amari Cooper a while back in the Oakland years, and he's been kind of like a good 3rd, 4th receiver. But when he got traded to the Buffalo is when his career a little on a winning team, so gotten better. But out of all these guys,
just like with the Raiders, he signed here or there with the Cowboys, with the Browns, and again, the thing is, if you want a pressure situation and somebody to drop the ball, throw it to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and most of the time that when he played against us, when he was with the Browns, he'll make the catch. But one name,
though.
Yeah,
on the line like that,
but
it was one of those situations.
One name that has been also thrown out there is this man right here, DK Metcalf, who is going into his last year of his contract. He was drafted by Pete Carroll a couple years back, and looking at these numbers, and I get a little nervous trading for a receiver because we saw what happened with AB, we saw what happened with Devontae Adams. You want to try again? 3rd time's a charm, trading for a receiver to come to the team. Now he's going to be paired with the coach, that the coach knows him. The coach drafted him, so that could help. But if you have a DK Metcalf, a big receiver that can overpower whoever is lined up against them, 50-50 balls, run someone over. I don't know. What would you think of a Raiders making a play on trying to get DK Metcalf from the Seahawks if they are willing to answer the phone call?
For me, it depends on what we have to give up.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to that. Am I going to turn down, these kind of numbers for, and we got to give up a 3rd round pick, kind of a thing? No, I'd take the flyer on that. 1 year, 3rd round pick. We got 2 3rd round picks right now, so we can give up, one of them on a flyer and go. But if they're going to ask a 1st round pick, no, I don't want to give up a 1st round pick for them. Hell no.
I would think the highest would be a 2nd they would try to ask for.
I give them a third this year, and at most they'd get a 4th or 5th out of next year's.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up a 2nd round pick. We have that extra pick right now, and we still don't even have our compensation picks yet either. So there might even be something we could do, this year to entice it and go. But again, it's all about, I know you brought up AB. The only thing that good that came out of that is even the bullshit that happened, we didn't give up the farm for him. We only gave up a third and a fourth round for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we lost it, So if Metcalf, even if we gave up a third and a fourth and Metcalf played, that's way better than fucking AB.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was at that stadium when the whole fuck AB chant started on the first game and the first touchdown that happened. I think I was one of the ones that helped start it, but made it on national television and shit on that one.
Monday night game.
Yeah, Monday night game. But anyways, so I mean, it all depends. I mean, these are not, bad numbers. This is somebody that, can go, like you said, big, strong receiver, 50-50 balls. He might be, depending on, this is a player that could help Aiden O'Connell, could help, whoever you got at the quarterback with the Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, I mean, and then get a running back there too.
Yeah.
It can be a dangerous team with the Metcalf. Again, with Pete Carroll going, and all that. So it comes down again to what you have to give up to get them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we can all, like we always do, make a big transaction, a big, trade.
Big
we can look at it on paper. We can look at it on paper and just be like, oh man, can you imagine if so-and-so was paired with this guy and them on the field and the offense going deep, we're going to score a touchdown every single drive. I mean, if you got DJ Metcalf and he's going to be over here attracting double teams, and you'll have Jacoby Meyer open and Brock Bowers, who are you going to cover? Brock Bowers, Jacoby Meyer, Troy Myers, DJ Metcalf. I mean, DK Metcalf. Who are we going to get? Who do they cover? And then maybe if we, you have Trey Tucker out of nowhere on a deep post. Oh, we didn't see him because you were too busy looking at the big hit, the big three, the three-headed monster. Yeah. That is, there were two receivers and the tight end. Didn't even see the other receiver coming around the backfield. Maybe do a route that comes out like that. Them old school Mike Martz routes. Where the receiver's coming off in the backfield and then he's, darting through the through the middle of the defensive coverage. So there's possibilities, and we're here, having some kind of hope. Like, okay, we have an experienced coach who can turn this thing around, and him making sure if the Patrick Graham rumors and reports are true and that he's finalizing to stay with the Raiders, your defense, you don't really have to worry about too much because they'll be on their fourth year in the same system and they can re-sign a lot of those key players to stay and continue. We can at least have a defense that can compete with these other to go against these other quarterbacks like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Bo Nix, and Justin Herbert.
Bo Nix' name in there. Yes, he had a good rookie season. I want to see his next season before we start throwing Bo Nix' name around like they're doing right now. But again, I brought it up last time this got brought up, and I'll say it again. Right? Everyone's saying, oh, we need quarterbacks. We need an offense to keep up with these guys. The best way to stop these guys is with the defense. If you stop these guys with the defense, again, you can put a Trent Dilfer type quarterback back there and win games.
2000
when the
Ravens
defense is stopping and getting you the ball all the time. Our biggest problem on defense is getting turnovers.
Yeah.
That's
turnovers and covering the middle of the field. Them crossing routes.
Yes, I mean, we're still struggling there, but we've gotten slightly better at that.
Yeah.
With the lane, but we could fix that. But it's the turnovers. So, I mean, a defense is key to beating, these teams or keeping you in the game to give your offense a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So now that we got the defense, a player, two kind of a situation, away, depending on who we keep, who we bring in, shit like that, from being even more dominant than what they can be. Again, Carroll said, build the offense around your quarterback. So we're going, makes me believe whoever he chooses as quarterback is not going to have to worry about things. It's going to be the quarterback. Okay, I got a quarterback that sits in the pocket. I need an offensive line that can give him all the time in the fucking world. I need a running back that can sit there and catch the ball out of the backfield, or when we're going to run the play, because we know Pete Carroll loves to run the ball, can sit there and not only get the hard yards, but can find the hole and break away a 7-8 yard run, a 12-yard run, and make the quarterback's job that much easier.
Yeah. That's what he said in the press conference. He said, we want to make the hardest position in all of sports is the quarterback. And if we can try to find a way to make that position easier for that player, which, like you said, means get everyone else around him better, offensive line, a consistent running game to take the pressure off of him so they can do play action and throw keep the defense on their toes and not be able to know, okay, I know they're going to run, so they're going to go pass, so let's go pin back our ears. This offense can, I was going to say like the old phrase, we're not out there playing checkers when the defense is playing chess. We can go and compete, especially like we keep saying, like the media keeps saying, all these other head coaches with all this experience and all these big game experience. We have a guy who can put together a coaching staff that can compete with the rest of the West and maybe really have a legitimate, realistic shot at knocking the Chiefs off of that pedestal that has been the AFC West.
Yeah, well, like Peggy said,
yeah,
we now have a coach who's most likely not going to get out-coached by these more experienced coaches. We can't bring in, Bisaccia really didn't, but there was moments he did get out-coached. McDaniels got out-coached every goddamn game. He just got lucky in a few of those. AP, we have to admit, he got out-coached in some of these games. Granted, first time, there's a lot of, as it was told from us before, we gave a lot of excuses, but, he got out-coached. Now we got somebody who, every coach gets out-coached. It does happen. But you got a coach, if he gets out-coached, it's not, I'm in over my head, in the deep water getting out-coached. It's, it was a key sequence or a key drive that they got out-coached. So you got somebody who can, knows when to use the challenges, knows when to do the timeout, when I should do a 2-point play. Maybe I should go for the points here. Maybe I should go for it on fourth down here. All that, he's going to have it there. The experience is one thing that every job does this. If a lot of people don't get hired because somebody with more experience gets hired over them. And the reason they do is you cannot replace experience.
Yeah. And this is an attempt to, try to tell us fans that, and then a lot of fans will know we're going through rebuild, but this is like, no, we're not going through rebuild. We just got to retool. And like we reported earlier, it's rumored. We're not going to say it's confirmed until we see it's confirmed that it's rumored that Patrick Graham is going to come back to have his old position back as defensive coordinator. So if that is true, then that defense, we don't have to worry about too much on what kind of scheme, what kind of players. There's already continuity. Keep the continuity on the side that works. And let's try to fix the offensive side and go from there. Because once that offense keeps going, once the offense starts to go and starts to pick up its slack that it hasn't been for the last 3 seasons, and that defense continues to get better and get better in a system where they don't have to think, they can just play and react like good defenses do, this team can have a big turnaround and surprise people going into this season. So that is the thought, that is the hope, that is what everyone is seeing. And I know, like we said, the age factor is something that is going to get brought up throughout the whole offseason going into the season. But like if you look at his record against the coaches in this division, Andy Reid is 2 for 2. Sean Payne is 3 and 4. Sorry, he's 2 and 2. Sean Payne is 3 and 4. And then Jim Harbaugh, who he has seen in college and in the NFL. I was reading that. I was reading the stats real quick. He is 4-4 against Jim Harbaugh. One of those is, I'm sorry, also with the playoff victory against Jim Harbaugh in the NFC West, and then seeing him in college, he is 1-2 against them, but he does have that familiarity with Jim Harbaugh, so we can at least have a sense of comfort, that we have a coach, like you said, Asylum, that is able, and Miss Peggy said that is able to be able to compete with these coaches in our division. And I know Ben Johnson had said in his press conference when he was introduced by the Bears, I want to be in the toughest division in football, which is the NFC North. No. You balked at going to the Raiders because you didn't want to be in the toughest division in football, which is the AFC West. You want to go up there. The AFC West is...
Hold on. According to our owner, we never even gave him an offer.
Yeah, I know. And there's reports out there, speaking of clickbait, said that, oh, yeah, $92 million. Now, well, whether it is or it isn't, the owner is saying it never happened. So, hey, it never happened.
As far as I got to take it straight from the horse's mouth, right?
Yeah.
We never gave him an offer.
So,
and then his agent, Ben Johnson's agent, apparently put it out there that they only use the Raiders as leverage to get the Bears job.
Yeah.
So all this talk about, it's almost a done deal. Ben Johnson going to the Raiders and everything. How do we know that his agent didn't start those rumors, start saying it to these people to be able to put out there and everything to get the leverage? I mean, with the stories coming out, sounds like, it was just high hopes. It was what fans wanted. It was what everybody was saying. But as the truth comes out, I mean, we'll never know the truth, I guess. But it sounded like they just interviewed him. They were enamored. They liked him. But it sounds like Pete Carroll was the fucking answer all the way.
Yeah. And if it wasn't, if he was the fall guy, not the fall guy, but if he was like that, plan B, break glass, whatever. Hey,
break glass in case of emergency.
Hey, experience. Yeah, okay. The young head coach. The young offensive mind that became head coach, or an experienced guy that has a ring and's been to 2 Super Bowls. Hey, we tried everything else. Let's try this. We already tried the offensive coordinator that's supposed to be the offensive mind, and whatever. Okay, we tried the guy who is, who was that quote unquote rah guy that got the team turned around and everything. Okay, if we're gonna go to experience and age, whatever. You know what? What else? Whatever. You never know.
We just have to see. I mean, we've tried everything else. This is the only route we didn't try. We tried bringing back, with Gruden, the guy that worked before, kind of a thing. And it seemed like things were going, he was the long-term choice, 10-year, $100 million contract. Then the emails came out, started all this shit, which apparently Mark Davis is still pissed off about. So, things going. He tried, the big splash, like you said, the offensive mind. He tried the, what the fans and players wanted. He tried, he's probably tired of interviewing head coaches, and it come down. He even said, really, the only reason Brady even got any kind of ownership of the team was because of Gruden's situation.
Yeah.
Gruden was supposed to be that football mind, to be the guy to, do all the shit that he didn't know. That was Gruden's job. Then, 3-4 years later, the emails come out and all this shit goes. So his next plan or his next brilliant thought, bring in Brady. Some of us agree with it, some of us don't, but it is what it is. He's got a football mind in there now. And, with the things going, go with the experience. There's nothing wrong with having somebody, and it's not even experience as head coaching. We're talking about the experience of rebuilding dysfunctional teams and making them relevant and good. So it's not like, well, a Bill Walsh. Well, he was successful. He started off, with this team, but he was a good coach. But a Bill Walsh inherited a team that was not dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who came to teams that were, as bad as we've been, and turned them around. So that's the experience that is being looked at on top of the head coaching experience.
And I mean, it's an obvious stop, but if Patrick Graham does sign a new deal to stay as the Raiders DC, does that mean that he becomes the heir apparent to when Pete Carroll retires or whatever, and now you got Patrick Graham?
That could be, because I did read a story where Pete Carroll was talking about that's what he wanted to do, is have somebody on the staff to be his heir apparent for when he is done with all this, to take over for him. So that could be a Pete Carroll, that could be a Bevel, that could be, somebody on the staff. I mean, not Pete Carroll, I mean a Patrick Graham. So I mean, there's a possibility. Patrick Graham, for what, the last 2 or 3 years, has interviewed for a head coaching job and didn't get it. So that could be a point right there. They sign him. Maybe that's what they're working out in his contract right now, is the wording for that, him being the heir apparent. When Carroll is done, you will take over as the head coach. And then you still got your consistency.
Yeah.
And everything. So, I mean, so there might be other titles other than DC that he has to have in there in order to be able to work with Pete Carroll as much as he needs to learn from him, to become that heir apparent and keep that kind of, things going, learning, the staff.
Are you predicting Patrick Graham DC / assistant head coach?
Maybe you heard it here first.
Patrick Graham will be the assistant head coach and be the DC for the Raiders going into this coming season. You heard it here first. Allegedly. We think, we assume, we don't know. Okay. That's
hold on. I got this.
Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day.
See? We had it. We were thinking alike. You were like, audible, I got it.
Our ESPN was working.
Or how AB calls it on Twitter, our CTESPN is working. That's what he called hashtagging. So the other half of this press conference was also John Spytek, and I know it's kind of hard to really break down, because we can break down records and stats and all that, when it comes to head coaches and guys he worked with. But all we can really, I guess, outside of his background, is see what players that he was a part of the drafts that, the players that his teams, I'm going to start over. The organizations that he was a part of when coming to drafting players, on what players did they draft. So with him and Pete Carroll having front office football operations experience, here are the list of notable guys that both of them have drafted. Pete Carroll with the Seahawks, his 14 years with the Seahawks, and then Spytek, I believe it was 9-10 years with the Buccaneers.
I don't know. I can look that up real quick.
So, looking at this right here, when you see guys like, and a lot of the players that Pete Carroll has built his teams in Seattle were not first round guys. You had Cam Chancellor in the 5th round. Guys like you said, aside Russell Wilson, he drafted. He was in the 3rd round. DK Metcalf was in the second round. The only first rounders you see on here is Bruce Irvin, Russell Okun, and Earl Thomas.
No, you talk, hold
Okun.
on.
And
Earl Thomas. That was
Yeah.
a good one. Golden Tate,
yeah.
Richard Sherman, Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner.
So you see right here that with these two guys, you got two guys that could probably find talent in all the rounds, because we know, like, when Gruden was in the first rounds of the drafts, nah. But they would find guys in the middle rounds like a Max Crosby,
Spytek, in different roles.
Okay,
He
8
had
years
three-
then.
He had 3 different roles with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
Here it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, 3
So
different roles for 8 years total. Sorry.
yeah. So no, yeah, because I was all like,
How do you bring that up? Make me do all the damn work.
but you look over here and you see Spytek being a partner. He was the assistant general manager with the Buccaneers, but they said he had a big voice in the guys that they selected. And you see guys on here, Chris Godwin, who we showed that's going to be a free agent going into the season, going into this off season. You got Antoine Winfield. Guys like him, Cade Otton, which I had on my fantasy this past year. He got me some points. Bucky Irving. So yeah, so you see that with them two guys together, maybe we have a full, even with Telesco last year, where just about every pick hit in the draft. Maybe them together, we'll find some talent up top, and then some gems in the middle rounds. So it's a good team, and that's what Pete Carroll said. We're going to work on this together. It's his first time, going as a full-time GM. The main guy at GM, and then Pete Carroll having his experience. So everything they're doing is going to work together in building this team from the free agency and from the draft. Outside guys coming into this team, to this organization. So you see there, and their tenures with their last team, Pete Carroll with the Seahawks and Spytek with the Buccaneers, that they're able to find guys in the draft and build off of them, and not try to overspend on the free agency market to try to put a team together. For now, they can draft guys that can build so they can build success, and they can maintain and sustain success from homegrown talent that they find in the draft. So, asylum. Looks like we have a group that can really turn this season around, or turn this franchise around sooner than later.
Well, I mean, there's even more. I mean, Pete Carroll even said they're going to lean on Tom Brady for the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Which we've already heard a whole bunch of. He was going to be involved with the quarterback search anyways. So I mean, as Anna said, it's a team effort. I mean, we got, we did like what Telesco did. He hit in the first 3 rounds. So if we could do that again, maybe stretch it to the 4th round, because we got some decent 4th round picks on this list, from the other 2. So we can stretch it to 4th round, right? And I'm not knocking the Cameron Richardson right now, but with things going, but you got 4th round picks on here that Bucky Irvin, 3rd round with Russell Wilson, KJ Wright, I think was decent. Cam Chancellor was a fucking 5th round pick. If we get into the 4th or 5th fucking round with solid hits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's just going to make your team stronger, as you said, down the road. It might not be the first year. Not all of them are going to be able to play, year 1. But here you're talking about, year 3, year 4, depending things going. Patrick Graham's fucking taking over, and you have a team that not only can compete, but is playing at a high fucking level that you're not, spending. The key thing is when you go into the free agent part of the season, you want to pick up a player here or there to fill certain needs, or you got a big name that you got an opportunity to get, but you don't want to fucking be bringing in a shit ton of people because you want to have the people already there, and then their backups, and then their backups already on the team, learning. That's the way you have a good team for a long period of time. If you're constantly going through into free agency and having to sign 6 or 7 free, big name free agents, assuming that they're there, you're spending a lot of money. You're putting yourself in salary cap hell. I mean, we had that with Al Davis.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his, life. So, this 107 million, you want to keep that going into the next years in case that chance of a big name guy that is just going to make you even that much more dominant to where you could have a 4 or 5 year playoff Super Bowl run kind of a situation, you have no problems getting. Or the guys you need to keep, such as the Max Crosby, the Kuntz, the Spillanes, shit like that. As people come up to free agencies and are going to get those bigger contracts, you can turn around and fill those spots or fill those contracts without having to worry about your cap space. And if they end up leaving, you have that guy that's going to be able to come in and fill the spot. And maybe that, second or third guy, because of a situation, you don't necessarily, I don't want to say need, but you have the freedom of creating trades. Maybe there's a guy in the draft that you really want, so you don't have to give up draft capital. Now you turn around and give up a 4th round pick plus a player and get up earlier to where you can get that guy that you're really looking for to be able to sit behind whoever, learn, and when that guy's career is over, he's stepping up in and being able, you have the flexibility. There was a reason why the Patriots were a dominant team for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
And that's
because of Tom Brady. And now we have him. I'm sorry.
Tom Brady was a big part of it, but they built in the draft. They didn't do a lot of free agent pickups.
Yeah.
They were always, we got who we need. We'll keep trading down and collecting all the picks we can fucking get. And then using those picks later on to move up in the draft to get somebody they were looking for and still have 17 fucking picks in the draft. And then, we got everybody we were looking for. I'm going to trade back. They always had that draft capital. They always had that space to be able to play around and do what they wanted to do.
And then they also had a system where if a guy in his contract year wanted too much, they were able to just let him go and have the next guy up, plug and play. And now, you have the next guy that they had drafted or that was on the roster for the last couple of years, learning that system to just, I'd
rather get rid of a guy a year or two early than keep him a year or two longer.
Yeah.
That was that philosophy that they had. He may still have a couple of years left, and then that was it. But do you keep him? Do I give this big contract and have to keep him, into those years where he ain't producing and pay this big money, or let him go those 2 years because I have that guy who can step in and replace him?
Yeah. And this is true because Tom Brady, when he had his breakout year in 2001, the snow game, that was his second year in the league. So, because Bledsoe, who, he was a top quarterback, going towards the end of his, into his later years of his career, he was still there, and Tom Brady was sitting back learning from Bledsoe. That's true. When Bledsoe got his lung knocked out in the sideline, it was either the Jets or the Bills. It was a division game. Got knocked out that game, and then Brady took over, and whatever. We know what happens, anyways. But yeah, that is true. That's why Brady's all I know. I want my whoever we draft. I want him to learn the system, not get thrown out there, and having the pressure of trying to learn the system, trying to run an offense, trying to make the team win, trying to keep the fans happy, trying to do this, trying to do that. And now that's another top prospect coming out of college has now become a Johnny Manziel or a Jamarcus Russell. Well, he didn't really work anyways that hard. But, guys who flamed out early because they couldn't handle trying to carry the franchise on their back because they were put in there.
As Tom Brady put it, the development was hurt.
Yeah.
They could have been great quarterbacks, but because they were thrown in too early, they weren't able to develop and learn what they needed to learn at the NFL level to be able to be the quarterback they were in college. So, there's that kind of thing. Putting a player in too early can hurt their development and stunt their growth, for lack of better words there, with everything. So, a lot of the great quarterbacks, even Patrick Mahomes, fucking sat for a year.
Yeah, Alex Smith.
They got to learn. They got to hold that clipboard. They got to do the second string shit. They had to fucking learn. There is no, Shador Sanders, going to come in and, I'm the fucking man. A CJ Stroud, who was great that first year. Second year, not so much. That he made the playoffs, don't get me wrong. We'll see how Jalen Daniels turns out since he started right away and gone. He had an awesome rookie year, taking nothing away from him. But is he a generational player? We have yet to see, because throwing him in so early can hurt his development. And if you sat him for the year instead, and he comes out and does what he did this year, next year, instead as his first year, and been able to grow, he could be a whole different quarterback. You don't know how it's going to turn out. Development is the key on these young players coming out of the draft.
Yeah. And the same thing with Bo Nix, He was thrown out there. We'll see how he turns out, because we're going to see him twice a year the next upcoming season. So we'll see how he turns out after his surprise year as rookie quarterback starting for the Broncos under Sean Payton. So
yeah. And what we have to see about that too. I mean, everyone's trying to anoint. We got to go through Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. Bo Nix had a good year. Nobody expected that, and everything. But again, it was just 1 year. If there's no consistency, then 1 year don't mean shit. Sam Darnold had a good year. Yeah. This year, it took him a while. Sam Darnold was one of those ones that was thrown into the fire right away with the what was it, Jets, right? So, and it finally took things to go. Who's to say if he has another good year or not? The cards may have just aligned for the 1 year, and we don't know. His development was obviously hurt, because I guarantee the Jets didn't see fucking that side of Sam Darnold. Maybe when they drafted him, that's what they were hoping.
Yeah. Him or the Panthers with Sam Darnold. Maybe when he went to the Niners and was playing under Kyle Shanahan, maybe he was able to learn how to, I guess, fix the issues that he had. But that's the same thing, what Pete Carroll did for I'm forgetting his name, the starting quarterback right now for Seattle, who was also drafted by the Jets. Geno Smith. Geno Smith, after the Jets let him go, he was
also tied to the Raiders right now for a trade.
They just gave him a big contract too. Before last year?
Million.
Yeah,
$75 million.
Yeah. So I mean, they was able to revive his career because he was named a career backup. You know who else is named a career backup that we always been big fans, or that we believe in? Who do they keep saying is a career backup?
Aiden O'Connell.
Team Round Rod. So maybe he could turn him around and make him be that guy that everyone, he's a career backup. Well, hey, maybe Pete Carroll and whoever he brings in can get him going, because, O'Connell was a 4th rounder, and you see it in this list over here. Now let's bring it back to the list of, I need to give me some glasses.
Stop wearing sunglasses.
Well, I'm trying to protect my eyes, okay, from the government. The list of the not up at draft picks. Okay, as you see here, you see Russell Wilson. Was found in the 3rd round, and Russell Wilson wasn't supposed to start that year. I think they also had brought in Matt Flynn, and Russell Wilson ended up beating him out in the preseason. It was the same thing for O'Connell, but McDaniels wanted to start Garoppolo. Didn't even give O'Connell the second quarterback spot. He gave that to Brian Hoyer. So I said it right this time. Brian Hoyer.
Yes, he did.
So and you've seen that Aiden O'Connell on a makeshift offense under Bo Hardegree, he was able to make some plays. And on an offense post Getsy, he was able to make some plays downfield. So now, if he has an offensive coordinator that he works with from the beginning, who knows what he's doing, and is consistent throughout the whole offseason going into the season, if we don't have like a guy like Russell Wilson coming in or whatever, if they say, you know what, we'll just go with O'Connell, and then if we have to, we get a quarterback next year, your guy Manning, Arch Manning in the draft next year, I don't know, but all I know is that at least we have a coach.
It sounds like who we're hoping for then for the OC job is Bevel.
I mean, if we have the quarterback already in the building,
I'll take 7 years of a top 5 offense.
Hey, I would take it. Just give me 7. I'll take 7 years of squeaking into the playoffs. Okay, what a top So, hey, with Pete Carroll coming in, having a head coach that knows what he's doing, that's not full of himself. I mean, I love John Gruden, but John Gruden was a little bit full of himself,
egotistical, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, or someone who doesn't come in scared like McDaniels came in scared, or someone who had what's the word? Hubris? Is that the word? Someone who has too much confidence, but AP, he had a lot of confidence that he could do the job, but he just didn't have the experience. So now you have a guy that coming in, his press conference, it was just, hey, we know what we got to do. I found the formula. I turned around USC. I came back to the NFL. I turned around the Seahawks. So I have the formula. We have the formula. We know what we're doing. We're not going to wait 2, 3, 4 years. We want to do it now. And if this news today of Patrick Graham staying with the Raiders is confirmed and is on its way to becoming true, then right there shows you that Pete Carroll ain't playing around. I'm going to keep some continuity on defense so I can just get the offense tooled up and we can start going right now. Rubber hits the ground and take off now and start really being a contender in the West. So
same situation, nothing's changed so far in that front. If it's going to happen, I expect to probably hear about it tomorrow.
Yes, so hopefully that goes through, and of course that news was by
knock on
wood. That right there, right here. Oh wait, there you go. There we go. I remember. I got to stop shooting the gun. So right there, that is the news that we heard.
Stick to the guns. God damn, your generation.
We don't know what we're doing. Just like I said from Justina Anderson, NFL insider. Also, I never heard of her until now, but she is being told that Patrick Graham is working on a deal with the Raiders, and it's been blowing up on Twitter /X.
I just read here. I'll read it here. Going, it was your favorite guy, Vinny Bonsignor, saying once Patrick Graham and the Raiders officially agree on a new deal, he will become the club's longest tenured defensive coordinator since Rob Ryan. So, but those are his words. Those are Vinny's words, not ours.
You see, everyone is on eggshells now because of Ben Johnson. So, all right. Well,
apparently it's looking good to happen.
Yes. So,
once we end this, I'll get on the phone with Mark Davis and I'll confirm it later.
Yeah. After this, I'm gonna get on the phone with. I got nobody.
Pete Carroll and fucking.
Yeah. Hey, Pete. What's going on, man? What's going on? Let us know what's happening, Kay.
You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do a spur of the moment show. Come on the show and tell us what's going to happen.
Yes. From the man himself, Pete Carroll. Or Beast Mode. I don't know. I wish. Anyways, that is our show for today. We wanted to go and go in a deeper dive of the two well, not the two, but the GM, the new GM, and the new head coach, John Spytek and Pete Carroll, and what we could possibly see going into the going further into the off season as we go into the free agency period, and we'll talk a little bit more. We start going into deeper into draft talk. We should have Miss Peggy.
Oh, free agency first.
I know, free agency first, and then after that when we start going into the draft, we'll have more like we do with the stats over here. I know,
my insider right here, Anna Diaz, will give us any kind of update from the 10 p.m. news, or tomorrow morning on the morning news.
So
she will go live on Facebook. So if you don't have her as a friend on Facebook, go get her on Facebook because she does do it quite often.
Yeah. So, we'll continue to like we do. We're gonna be on every Wednesday, like we always. If you're new to watching the show, we're on every Wednesday, and we have the graphics with all the stats and everything. We're really trying to put the show together, especially now during the off season. So Miss Peggy should come on next week. It'll be her week to come on, and I'm pretty sure
big news will happen. Big news will happen because all season, every time she comes on, there's been big news.
Yes. So, hey, if Patrick Graham, if it's official, before next Wednesday show, Miss Peggy should come on, and then we can start talking about more on the defensive side, and we'll have more graphics about on all the possible defensive players that are out there that should be going to free agency. And of course, this is before franchise tags and all that, because that can't happen until March. So not until March, until late February.
Beginning of the new football year.
Yeah, so until then, we can start talking about certain players that Raiders could be looking at. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen when Peggy comes on, because she's already started talking about free agencies and players and everything. And we're like, hold on, we haven't got to those. We haven't made those graphics yet. So I'm assuming it's going to be a show on. All right, now that we have our guy, let's look at possible guys that'll fit the mold that is Pete Carroll's team, based off of him in Seattle and everything. So, all right, Asylum, any last comments, remarks, notes, confessions? I don't know, whatever.
No, just Raiders
in the back of the conference. Raiders. Shouts out to Beast Mode, who was out there. Hey, and as and Beast Mode being out there, hey, vouching for him to the team, vouching for Pete Carroll. That's
gotta mean something.
It's gotta mean something. So they're saying Beast Mode for running back coach, but we will see. All right, we will be back next Wednesday, most likely with Miss Peggy, and then we'll bring you any news when it comes to Patrick Graham on next Wednesday, and we'll talk about it. Bring up all his stats.
Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, because we like to put out any news comes out. We'll put it out with shorts or different things. So don't forget to go, to like, share, and subscribe on our channel.
Yes,
help us keep getting out there.
Yes, and if you like the shorts, like it, share it, like you said, like, share it, and hey,
the show, the shorts, the memes, everything we put out, just like, share it, blast it out there. Help us help you.
Those shorts that we share are homemade from the Cage Match Studios. Okay, so there you go. All right, Asylum, let's end this show, because I feel like there's hope now. There's real hope now with this team and Pete Carroll with the experience coming in, and maybe we start turning heads and making some real noise in the NFL. Here come the Raiders. Let's go. Like he said, let's go.
Go.
Here we are.
All right, so people are putting, let's fucking go.
Yes, LFG. All right, Asylum, that's the end of our show. We're going to end every show like we always do with the word from my coach, my high school coach, Coach Wallace, a.k.a. to Raider Nation, Raider Milt, from the Oakland Coliseum, sat behind on the visiting side. Huh?
From Mecca.
from Mecca, as Violator calls it, from Mecca. Us,
Mecca.
we know you can't duplicate it. So he's
never duplicated.
yes, he Raider Melt used to sit behind the visiting sideline, the visiting team's sideline, and try to get in their heads. And he used to do it all the time. So we make sure that we keep his memory alive on this show because he was a diehard Raider fan. So with that, we say thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And we will see you next Wednesday with Miss Peggy. And we'll start talking about Patrick Graham. If he's still, if it's official. And knock on wood. And any free agents, and the free agent market, our own and the ones out there. So everyone take care.
OC too.
Oh yeah, that's the OC. So maybe next week we'll start talking about OC also, and we'll see. I don't think she wants Bevel.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out next week.
Ah yes, and if you know Miss Peggy, you know that she brings it. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good night. Be safe, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Oh wait, I hit the wrong button. All right, here we go. Peace out. Raider Nation out.
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight. Again, I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.